Hello and welcome to another edition of the King Kong Trail. I'm Doug Vandiver, sitting next to Amy. Let me see, where's Matt? We changed the camera buttons.
Yes, I messed with you and made you change all the buttons around.
You did.
Yes,
You did. You pushed my buttons.
But that's that's fun to push your buttons because that's what keeps the spark alive. Or
You're Sparky.
you're smart.
Well, why don't you tell us who we got sitting next to us?
I would
Because
love to.
This would be the second time we've done this.
I know.
And the first time we had major technical difficulties.
Yes.
And that
Yes,
was
we
like
did.
a couple weeks ago.
It has been, yeah, about a month. About
Yeah.
a month. Okay, I will definitely walk in. Our friend, who is one of our trail walkers extraordinaire. He has been on many trails with us, talking about many tales and history, and an amazing all-around guy, Mr. Russ Fry.
Yay.
How are you today?
I'm doing very good, thank you.
Good, good. You've had quite the last few months, haven't you?
Yeah, it would have been in May, in the middle of May, we had the archaeologist do a dig at the Black Hawk Rock.
Mm.
So, and then I've been doing paperwork on that ever since.
There's the fun, and then there's the paperwork to back up the fun.
That's it.
Gotcha.
So what I want to know is, does rock beat paper or paper beat rock at this point?
Actually, I think paper's going to beat rock. And we don't have any scissors, so.
Not yet, but you don't know what you're going to dig up at the dig.
That's
you know,
true.
You might find some ancient scissors.
Yeah,
That were-
we did find all sorts of bottles and glass and things because that's the Black Hawk Rock Ravine has been used as a dump for the settlers going back as far as the mid 1840s.
Hmm.
So it's been a day or two of different treasures to be found.
That's it.
It could be where you lost your glasses.
Yep, that's.
Oh,
we
I'm
did
not
find some
wearing my glasses, am I?
Sorry, I had to go there.
That's okay. If you didn't go there, the kids would have gone there and be like, Mom, where's your glasses? I'm like, I don't know. I can't see. I don't know where they're at. Okay. Besides my glasses. And we're going to switch back over here. So I'm going to totally distract you from my glasses.
Yeah. Oh, are we ready for the?
I don't know. Do you want to get into your slide presentation?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
And then we'll show a slide and I'll talk about it and then you guys can ask questions.
Perfect.
And the very first slide is a promo for me. I've been retired. Oh gosh, how long have I been retired? Since 2008 or something. And I've been writing books and making documentaries about the Burlington area, local history. And one of them is on Black Hawk Rock. And of course, that's the subject of tonight's podcast. So, and they're available at Burlington by the Book and on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. And you have a couple of other books available over there and on Amazon too. And there's a picture of them right there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
One or two of them.
Yeah, I've lost count, but I've got probably about 22 books on local history, and then I've got a whole bunch of other nonfiction books that are not history.
Mm-hmm. You talked about a few of those books that you had like a series of them, and that was a really great interview. So
I've already forgotten, but it was great. I'm sure it was.
it was more on psychology.
Oh yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Back in the day when I actually had a paying job, I was a treatment coordinator for the Department of Community Corrections. And so I taught classes and did treatment things with people who gotten in trouble with the law. And one of them, I developed a class called Reasoning Skills. Yes. And so I've got a book on that can be used to teach that class and an answer book for it so that the students' work can be scored. And then I've got a non-offender version called Wit or Whim. Mm-hmm. And it's designed to help people with anger management, problem solving, management of emotions, planning, and things like that.
Yeah, that's so needed in today's society because we're really quick to jump off a handle. We're really quick to
And if you can't manage your emotions, you can't get what you want in a way that doesn't cause you problems later and problems for everybody else.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And some of your books that you have here, those are specific to this topic we're talking about.
That's right. I started off with, I came across some information that Black Hawk, commonly referred to as Chief Black Hawk, but he wasn't really a chief, he was a war leader. But I found out that there was a note saying that his remains were not burned up in a museum fire on Main Street in 1853. And so I investigated and found out he's actually in an unmarked grave in Aspen Grove Cemetery. So I wrote a book about that. And then that led to another book about Black Hawk in Burlington, where it's a kind of a tour. It starts at one point and it drives around different places that Black Hawk had contact in the Burlington area, and then show a photograph of the area and maybe something from the 1800s, and then it's kind of like you take a tour of the whole thing. And then if you ever have done historical research or any kind of research, it really never ends. Mm-hmm. So I was doing something else, and I came across a footnote that said that Governor Lucas, who was the territorial governor of Iowa when it was first formed, had offered Black Hawk's bones to the University of Iowa, and they accepted. So that led to a road trip and several days at the University of Iowa library in their archival section, and found a footnote in the minutes of the Board of Trustees, which would be sort of like the Board of Regents, where there it was. He made an offer and they accepted. And so another whole book sprang out of that. And by the way, I don't think they ever made it up there. I still believe they're in Aspen Grove Cemetery. And then the last one has been a project that I've been thinking about ever since I retired, is there's an area in a ravine just north of the North 6th Street Catholic Cemetery, which is up there by North Street area. And that in that ravine is a large boulder that's referred to as Black Hawk Rock. And in his autobiography, Black Hawk said that whenever he came to Shakakan, which is the native name for the Burlington area, that he held council in a secluded but romantic spot amongst the bluffs near the river. And so I researched all that, and I came to the conclusion that this ravine and this rock is that area that he referred to. And so I've been real busy with that. I had an archaeological dig. We're trying to get it established as a National Historic Site and eventually make it available to the public so they can come and see our history.
I think it's sad that we are called Burlington. I mean, I like the name Burlington.
Yes.
Instead of Shakakan. That would be unique. That would be very specific to this area.
Yeah.
But Burlington. When I first came here, I was sitting there thinking, "Where's the coat factory?"
Yeah.
And there's Burlington, Vermont. There's Burlington, North Carolina. There's so many Burlingtons.
Yeah.
How many Shakakans are there?
Well, that's true. Probably none.
Mm-hmm.
And an interesting side note is that. I don't know how, but it happened. But they gave the rights to name the city to one of the people who made a claim in this area, and he was from Burlington, Vermont.
Oh.
And so we're a sister city to Burlington, Vermont.
Do they know we exist over here?
I probably not.
Fun
I probably
fact.
couldn't care less.
Fun fact, I was just going through some books in our library, and one book I came across has all the counties in Iowa, where the names came from, and all the cities.
Oh, boy.
This was a second edition, and Des Moines was because of the Des Moines River when it was territorialized, and the name was they had a name of the person that had the right to name it.
Oh,
and the same thing. It was after Burlington, Vermont.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll verify.
Yes. So we're historically accurate on the King Kong Trail.
It is always good to fact check.
Yes.
You'll have to bring that book home because now I'm curious.
I could probably do that.
Yeah, since you're the library dude, you can do that.
And another interesting feature was when we first became a territory, there were only two counties, Des Moines County and Dubuque County. And so it was like 50 miles west of the Mississippi all the way up. And the dividing line between the two counties was Davenport. And then, of course, they real quickly divided it up into a lot more counties.
Right, because that'd be a really long county.
Yeah. Especially if you have to ride a horse to go to somewhere.
I would love to get back to those days. That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Where horsepower is really horsepower.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay. This drawing is they call it the Battle of Bad Axe River, but it was more of a massacre. But our story really began in 1804. A young native, I think he was a Meskwaki or maybe a Sauk, got in trouble and was being held in jail down in St. Louis. And several minor civil chiefs went down to get him out. And the government wined and dined him and got him very drunk, and they signed away Illinois.
Oh.
And Black Hawk and most of the other native people didn't accept that treaty. And by 1832, the native people, at least the Sauk and the Meskwaki, were kicked out of Illinois into Iowa. And Black Hawk was rallying some of his warriors to go back to Illinois and retake his homeland. And so from Black Hawk Rock area, he held a war council, crossed the river, and when he crossed the river, that led consequences of that was a conflict that we called the Black Hawk War. And they chased him, and that was in the spring of 1832. He was chased all over Illinois and Wisconsin by militia and the U.S. Army. And he started out with like 1,500 warriors and women and children and old people. But they finally caught up with the natives at the mouth of the Bad Axe River in Wisconsin and basically massacred most of them. And so this is a painting or a drawing of that massacre. And as a consequence of the defeat there at Bad Axe, it began the end of the Native American presence in Iowa.
So that was that's awful that happened.
Yeah, it is. It certainly was a clash of cultures. The government thought that they could make a treaty and it would be binding, like if you made a treaty with Great Britain or France, it'd be binding on the whole nation. But the native people didn't do it that way.
Right.
They had to come to a consensus, and there was no consensus on this.
Well, especially if you get people drunk to have them sign a thing. I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
Yeah, that probably goes on all the time in Washington. I shouldn't have said that.
I bet you.
Yeah, I'll drink to that. Anyway, after his defeat, he was sent to Washington, D.C., and he met with President Jackson, and they were trying to convince him never to go to war again against the American people. And he was eventually released, and he contacted Antoine Leclerc. And if you've ever been to Leclerc, Iowa, that's the land that was given to Leclerc for his service to the U.S. government. He was an interpreter. And Black Hawk said, I'd like to tell my side of the story. So he dictated his autobiography, and it was given to James Patterson. I think if we flip to the next one, we might see these fellows' pictures. Oh, well, anyway, he dictated his autobiography, and it was given to Patterson I think it was John Patterson in Aquaka who published it. And then the autobiography is still available today. I mean, you can get it on Amazon. It's down at the Burlington Library and everything. But in it, he talked about coming to Burlington. Now, maybe, Amy, you could read that. You could probably see that better than I can.
Sure. A new village has been started at
That's Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan,
And
Flint
that's why
Hills.
they call it Burlington. Sorry, start over.
A new village has been started at Shaka Khan by the whites, and some of its people have already built good houses, but the greater number are still living in log cabins. They should have retained its Indian name, Shaka Khan, as our people have spent many happy days in this village. Here, too, we had our council house in which the braves of the Sauk Nation have assembled many times to listen to my words of counsel. It was situated in a secluded but romantic spot in the midst of the bluffs, not far from the river, and on frequent occasions, when it became necessary to send out parties to make war on the Sioux to redress our grievances, I have assembled my braves here to give them counsel before starting on the warpath.
Okay. So the conflict we call the Black Hawk War was actually the last major conflict between Native Americans and European Americans east of the Mississippi River. And so the war council that he held here in Burlington before crossing the river is actually a very historically significant a site. There have been people living successful lives in this area for over 11,000 years. 11,000. That's way before the pyramids, right? And this war council there marks the beginning of the end of that way of life in the Burlington area. And I think people need to understand the significance of something that's right in their neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my quest. So I started off on my exploration to prove that this is the site, and let's see what we got for next one here. Okay, my research put it in the ravine that's just north of the North 6th Street Catholic Cemetery. Okay, and the ravine's opening is down by the marina, down off of Bluff Road. And the next picture is just amazing. That is a photograph taken probably in 1868. And that road, that kind of a bluff there, that's North Hill Bluff. And this was before Bluff Road was built. And there's where that arrow is points to where the opening was to that secluded but romantic spot. And I think, okay, and then if you drive down Bluff Road, everybody does once in a while, you go past this area that was excavated. Now, when they built Bluff Road, this part of the bluff went all the way down to the river, so they had to blast it and cut out. And the cemetery is right above that, and that arrow points to where that ravine opening is. Let's see what the next one is. Okay, and then that points up into the ravine. I think the next thing is a video. Well, let's say this. Where the video and the PowerPoint may be overloading the system here, but if the viewers want to see it, I do have a YouTube channel, and my YouTube channel is RFRY52601. So if you remember Russ Fry, R Fry, and then Burlington zip code.
Technical difficulties.
All right,
All
okay.
right.
This is in the middle of May. We had this Office of the State Archaeologist from Iowa City down. We had 2 archaeologists there the whole time, and then the head man came down several times and helped us. And, oh gosh, I don't remember. We probably had 15, 20 volunteers that helped on and off. But the rock itself is a huge what they call an erratic boulder. It's a big piece of granite, roughly 6 to 8 feet in height, 4 or 5 feet in width, and another 8 feet in length.
Wow.
And most of it is buried. And it was left here by the last ice age. But the rock itself is on a bit of the slope from the ravine. And so the dig was all set up on the slope. And the archaeologist says it was one of the most difficult digs that they did, because if you didn't watch your footing, you'd slip and slide down.
That would be bad.
Right. And then this picture is we dug a pit on both sides of the rock and looking for artifacts, and also looking on the boulder itself to see if there's any paintings or carvings. Now, they didn't find any paintings or carvings, but we found a lot of stuff in the pit.
So would the paintings or carvings, you could probably tell, but I mean, just being covered for that long, wouldn't some of that kind of rub out?
It probably would. It probably would have faded.
Okay.
But it is amazing. I didn't really realize how particular the archaeologists were. They don't just dig, they slice. They take sections, 4-inch sections at a time, and it's all got to be level. And then they check the color of the soil, because changing of the color of the soil tells them something. They would scoop up the dirt from these cuts, and then would go off to the side and then sift it. They had shakers, and then anything they found, almost anything they found, then they'd save, and they'd bag up, and they'd say where it was found and when it was found and all this stuff. And so we got down, at least this show. I think this is the other side,
right?
And we got down maybe 3 feet deep. And we weren't to the bottom of the boulder yet.
Wow.
Okay. But we had 5 days for the dig. And by the way, we raised $12,600 locally to pay for this.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because the state doesn't have money to do these kind of things anymore. Anyway, so we had them for a week, and a day to set up and a day to tear down. That means we had 3 days for the dig. Well, it took us 2.5 days to get through all the trash. But it was interesting trash. That shows you a person that's sifting, and it shows you some of the bottles we found. Some of the bottles were like patent medicine, and we found cold cream jars. We found plates with gold etchings on it.
Did you get to keep any of those?
Well, the Des Moines County Historical Society was the sponsor for the dig. They are my host organization. And so they got everything.
Okay.
Everything, from tiny bits of broken glass to bottles and everything. And Colton Neely, who's the director of the Historical Society, sometime next year is going to have a public display of everything they found.
That will be fun.
Yes.
You have to let us know when that happens.
Yes, maybe you could do a live remote. I don't know.
That would be fun.
But that shows you some of the stuff. And then, this is fun.
I like this
That
picture.
you see me leaning in up against the rock, and I. The reason that we did this is because is it right next to it? Or it's the next one?
There's a picture.
Okay, the old picture.
Yeah.
Okay, what happened was in the early 1900s, the Daughters of the American Revolution decided they were going to dig this rock up and take it out to Crapo Park. And they got down real deep and then says, nah, we're not going to be able to do this. And somebody took a picture of a guy leaning up. So every time we got a little further into the pit, they'd have me lean up against it to compare it. But that also contributed to the reason that there was so much garbage around the rock, because they had dug that up and then When people threw stuff over the side, it would accumulate there faster than other spots.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay, so these are some of the things they found. I can't really make them out here, but
We got a marble.
Oh, yeah.
Little piece of.
Couple bottles.
Bottles.
Shards of bottles.
Yep. Some more. Oh.
It's
Looks like a
one-
medicine bottle.
yeah, a patent medicine bottle.
Those are cool. And maybe that's a thing of pottery with the blue stamp on it.
Yeah. Okay, now, so here I am. I'm just terribly frustrated. We have a half a day left, and the hole is too deep to get down in there and dig anymore. So they got out an auger, and they went down maybe a foot and a half in that round shape and pulled everything out they found in there, sifted it, and bagged it up. But at that point, when they were like 3 feet down, they were below the trash. So anything there would be pre-settler.
Okay.
And they didn't, on the surface, they didn't find anything. So I was...
How many of those holes did they dig though? Just
two,
the one. Okay.
one on each, in each pit.
Oh, so that's a very small sample from
Yes,
all the.
yes.
Yes.
And I was really bummed out. I mean, well, okay, I have made a very strong historical case
Yep.
that this is the site. But we also would help if we had something that established that the native people had actually physically been at this site.
Right.
And that's why we did the dig. Of course, the archaeologists were happy with everything they found, but I specifically needed something to show that they were there. And at that point, they weren't sure. But they took everything that they dug up. They had, I bet you, 50 to 100 paper sacks with each level and which hole that they had found after they sifted it. And they sent it to the lab in Iowa City. So we have I suppose you'd say a forensic, well, anyway. Forensic, yes. Archaeologist who went through and looked at everything. And they found 2 pieces of chert debris. Now, chert is the native people made tools like arrowheads and axe heads and scrapers and everything from either flint or chert. And debris would mean this is a flake off of when they made a tool.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Well, having a sample, maybe a 4-inch square or circle, all.
Yeah.
To be able to find
6
something.
inches in diameter, maybe a foot and a half down, and they found one in each pit.
So
Nice.
that means it was surrounded.
Probably.
Nice.
And that is enough for me to say that there's a native presence. Now, it would really be nice if we could have more digs there and actually find some tools that were made.
Right.
But I'm not going to try to raise any more money for that. If the state or somebody else wants to do that, I'm fine with it. But I would really, I'm trying to get the place established as a National Historic Site. And with the native presence there, I've added that to my application for recognition as an historic site.
So
Nice.
when they're chipping these pieces away from the tool, I'm just picturing somebody sitting on that rock.
Yeah.
Maybe a father and son telling stories
Yes.
and chipping away on this stuff.
Yeah. Hey, maybe even showing them how to do it.
Yeah.
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 How cool.
And so I think that's an application. I've had this prepared before we did the dig, and
You were ready for it.
I was ready for it, and now that I've updated it, and I've got the application finished, it's really they're very particular about everything they're asking. So you got to do it their way, or they get upset. But I've got it finished, and I've got one person has already reviewed it, and I've got another person that's reviewing it now. and we're trying to get it all clean and cover all our bases. And then we submit it to the state of Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And if they accept it as an historic site, then they'll forward it to the federal government, if the government is still in existence by then. But anyway, and if they accept it, then it'll be considered a National Historic Site.
That would be so amazing.
And then the city owns the property.
Mm-hmm.
They originally owned part of it, and then Steve Hoth, the late Steve Hoth, the attorney, had owned the back of that ravine where the rock is at. And after he passed away, one of the local historians, Herb Price, contacted Steve's son, Andrew Hoth.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Andrew agreed to give the land to the city with the specific stipulation that it be used for nothing but for historical purposes. So we got the land secured, and if we get it recognized as an historic site, then I'm going to start twisting arms for money. But I could go beyond Burlington. By that point, I would probably be able to get all sorts of money from various places, and then make it accessible. Now, an interesting thing, in all my research, I found out that every generation since the 1860s has talked about doing this.
Oh,
And
I did not know that.
Yes, because there'd be newspaper articles about people saying we should be doing this and everything, and then it never gets done.
So that should be part of the record too. That you know, people have been wanting to do this since the 1800s. And,
Yeah.
and
Well,
you're getting it done.
yeah, I hope so. Anyway, so, and they've all talked about how they would do it. Now, there's two. First of all, the ravine isn't a normal ravine. A lot of ravines are narrow at the top and wide at the bottom. This ravine is egg-shaped. It's round with an opening at the front, and it's like a natural amphitheater, which lends to the fact that this would have been a good place for a council site. Well, some of the earlier reports said that they wanted to come up from the Bluff Road area, and then other ones say they should come down from the cemetery. Now, it could probably, with a set of nice stairs, you could probably come up from Bluff Road, but then again, there's no close by place. Well, anyway, the other option is to come down from the cemetery with a switchback trail of some kind, and that's the one that the city prefers.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
What do you mean a switchback trail?
well, a winding trail.
Kind of like a mini snake alley.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
In fact, that could be called
Snake Alley,
Burlington's
too.
first Snake Alley.
That could be Shaka Khan Snake
Yeah,
Alley.
Shaka Khan Alley. And that's the one that the city prefers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the presentation ends in the first reference I found in the newspapers that talked about Black Hawk Rock was about an artist from Indiana named George Winter. And in 1856, he made a painting of Black Hawk Rock and then sold it. And the story about that is kind of cute because I found out that the painting, I tracked down the museum in Indiana where the artist's work is displayed, and they knew of this painting, but they didn't know where it was. And I was down at the library doing research, and one of the ladies at the library comes up, taps me on the shoulder and says, "Are you looking for the Black Hawk Rock picture?" And took me back in the back room, and there it was up on the wall. But anyway, so we have a good idea of what it looked like in 1856, and if we get it established as a National Historic Site, we'd like to return it to what it looked like back then.
That would be amazing. And you know, when you do that, when you do the historical, the renovations,
Yes.
you might find more evidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you would have to be doing some excavating to do like stairs or to do your trail and things like that, to kind of level it out. It's pretty steep, I've heard.
Yes.
And so to be able to make it accessible,
Yeah.
there would be, who knows what you would find there.
Yeah. And then one of the things we would do is we'd have interpretive signs that explain things. And it would explain the history. For example, Abraham Lincoln was in the Black Hawk War, but so was Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy. But anyway, we'd have all this kind of stuff in the history of the Treaty of 1804 and what all happened in the Black Hawk War and everything. And then I think if I can work it, what would just tickle me to all ends would be is it Q codes?
Oh, QR codes?
QR codes on the interpretive signs. And so on your phone, you could hear whatever that sign is talking about, have it in Black Hawk's native language.
Oh, now you have been in contact with his descendants a couple different times.
That's right.
And do you think maybe one of them would do that? I don't know if they still speak the language or not.
Yes, they do. There are 3 sites where there's 2 reservations and 1 settlement for the Sauk and the Meskwaki. And Black Hawk's people are in Stroud, Oklahoma. But the Meskwaki up in Tama, Iowa, have a settlement.
Where's Tama? I'm not familiar.
Little northeast of Des Moines.
Okay.
And they have a language department. They're trying to keep their language alive. And I've used them. I've hired them a couple times to do things for documentaries.
Nice.
Yeah, and
so they probably know you already.
Yeah, they do. Unfortunately, the fellow that I worked with the most is retired, and so I'd have to remake new contacts with him. But I think that would just be marvelous.
Well, if you're retired, maybe he'll come down to Burlington and just kind of hang out for a little while with you.
And then I've been to Stroud, Oklahoma, where Black Hawk's people ended up. And I've visited the museum and their library, told them about Black Hawk Rock. They knew nothing of it, so I've filled them in. And we've invited them to participate in this, and so far they have not objected, but they've also not shown much interest at this point in getting involved. So they might after.
What?
Unplug the computer, if you would.
They might be interested in it sometime if we get going on it.
Okay.
They certainly would be welcome to participate in it.
Okay. Well, that would be amazing because just the historical significance of Black Hawk Rock anyway, but to be able to share that with his descendants and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we should definitely, when you do those digs, when you go back, do some catch up and follow up on that, because the story is amazing, and you've been working on this for quite a while. In fact, isn't Black Hawk Rock part of your love story?
Well, yes. When I was first dating my wife, I told her about this, and she was interested enough in either Black Hawk Rock or me, but we went up from Bluff Road Park, and I've got a real neat picture. I should have included that of her standing on the rock, looking very stoic. But the rock the whole area in there is wild, and if you go up there when the weeds are high, you'll just get covered from head to toe in cockleburrs. And so we were getting cockleburrs out of each other's hair and everything for some time after that.
I hate those things.
Yeah, and these are big, huge ones.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Because nobody goes up there very often right now.
Yeah. Well, I earlier in the year I had my grandson go up there and weed whip it before the cockleburrs come out, but they've all come back. So.
Oh. Yeah, no matter how many times you knock those things down, they come back. They're very persistent.
And that's another thing that the Des Moines County Historical Society would like to do, is if we get it established as an historic site, is get some grant money set aside as a trust that would have enough money in it that with the interest, they would be able to maintain it. Not only just fix it up, but maintain it. The city is very helpful with this, but they have more pressing things to do with their money, so we're trying to do this all without a burden on the Burlington taxpayers.
Right. Well, I mean, doing it by, people investing in it.
Yes.
It makes it a little more personal for the people that are doing that too. And I
Right.
know that you've had, some really great grants and things like that,
Yeah.
local grants, and
Well, if I can give a shout out,
you go shout them out. Yeah.
the Heritage Trust
Mm-hmm.
was the first ones who invested in it, and then the Community Foundation gave us 2 different separate grants. The Historical Society gave us a grant, and we probably raised about $4,000 just from people sending in $25 and $20 and that.
Wow. That's a lot of people that really are excited to
Yeah.
have that happen.
Yeah.
So is there any other national historical, what besides like, I don't know, is Snake Alley a national historical
Well,
site?
yeah, there's the North Hill District
Mm-hmm.
that is recognized as a national preservation site or something like that.
Okay.
And then Snake Alley, and then there's the Warehouse District downtown. So Burlington has got some historical sites, but probably Snake Alley would be the only one that most people would be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
But if we got this done, I just can't help but imagine that anybody who went to that site wouldn't take the time to get their picture standing on it. I mean, it would be.
Oh, I know if there's a big rock, my kid would love to. He's Mr. Parkour.
Yeah. So we've been real busy working on all this, and I really don't know how long it'll take. I expect if I submit the application, it'd be at least a year before we hear from them. And you never know whether they consider it, making my case that this is the spot. So
Mm-hmm.
if they turn us down, then we'll have to try another route. But
Right.
but it would be a nice feather in Burlington's cap if we had a.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just the picture that you have of the artist picture that he
Yes.
did, and what it is. I mean, and that was, when did he paint that? Like 10 years after, 20
Well,
years after.
1856, and then Black Hawk died in 1838.
So 20 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the Burlington newspapers are constantly in the past have had articles about this. Black Hawk lived or visited Burlington quite a few number of times after he was released from custody.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny. He would come to Burlington and visit people. And he'd show up at supper time. But he was kind of a celebrity. He was a little bit bedazzled by that. In fact, he said, several years ago we fought against the Americans. We did wrong, perhaps. But he made a lot of friends.
Mm-hmm.
And even in his old age, he was walking all over southeastern Iowa.
That's amazing.
Yep.
I mean, the story of Black Hawk is it's not a story. The life of Black Hawk is just an amazing life that he led, and to see the change of, from Shaka Khan when he was a child to Burlington as an adult, you know, and all the different changes that came with the settlement.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
And you'd have to wonder if you could put yourself in his shoes or his people's shoes. They were leading a particular type of life, and they had it down to a routine where everything was working well for them.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of warfare, intertribal warfare, but I mean, they had their crops and they moved away for winter camp, and they enjoyed their life. And Black Hawk said the children never cried from hunger, and everybody's stomachs were full. And then the settlers started moving in, and it was an altogether different way of life. And rather than moving away for several months for winter camp and stuff, people were putting up cabins and plowing up the prairie and everything, and they were being pushed out. And I mean, you can imagine how they were just shocked about what was going on with their way of life. It was disappearing.
Mm-hmm. And when it started disappearing, it disappeared fast.
Yes. Yeah. In 1 or 2 generations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The closest I can think of to any type of culture shift like that in today's terms is like when I was a kid, we didn't have social media, and now we have social.
Yeah.
And it's just the shift of ideas and things like that. I totally, not what he went through, but that's the closest I think we have in our society is just, that's,
Yeah. All together different. Just to give you an example, now, we don't think anything of it, but when he was taken out east for the tour after he was taken prisoner, he couldn't understand how it was possible to have cities that weren't on rivers, because that was their major way of transportation, and he was shocked by railroads, and not only railroads going everywhere, but they also had dirt roads that you could travel all around. Now, they had trails, but they didn't have anything equivalent to that.
Right.
And then there were steamboats, where they don't have to paddle. There was a big wheel in the back,
Can you imagine seeing that for the first time?
Yeah.
That would be mind-boggling.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you've done a program with us before talking about Agency Street.
Yes.
And how it started off as a buffalo trail from the river and just, became what it is. And, just the changes that we've seen in this area, and just, it's kind of amazing.
I mean, Burlington people, unless they been in one of my programs or listened to our podcast on Agency Road or read one of my books, Agency Street was probably the first road in Iowa. There were 2 roads authorized in 1838, and Agency Road was finished first, and it went from Burlington to the Indian Territory at the Indian Agency in what is now Agency, Iowa.
And that's where we got our name.
Yes.
I remember the first time I was driving back from, I think, Ottumwa. Maybe it was Ottumwa. I don't know. I was coming back to Burlington after a work meeting, and I'm like, oh, look, there's Agency Street. I didn't think anything of it, because I'm like, oh, maybe there's a lot of streets or towns or areas, but that's actually where the beginning of this street ends, all the way out there.
Yeah.
And that was, when you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how long that street was.
Yeah. And the Dubuque Road went from Dubuque to the Missouri border. It went from Dubuque, angled its way down to Iowa City, and there's a U.S. highway that follows that old route. But from Iowa City to Mount Pleasant, Highway 218, that's part of that Dubuque Road, original road. And we go zooming around, and ghosts from the past are going right past them.
Yeah, I just think of the buffaloes going up the street. Or
Yeah.
You were talking before, too, when you did the program on Agency, how the Confederate... No, it wasn't the Agency Street. You were talking about the Confederacy and the Union troops going up and down Agency Street.
Yeah, there was out near Perkins Restaurant, there was a Civil War camp.
Yes, that's what it was.
And they would have marched from their camp down to the river, get on steamboats, and head south to the war. And there were prisoner of war boats coming up the Mississippi, and there are reports of them stopping in Burlington and Confederate soldiers being marched to a hotel roughly about the Valley and 7th Street. There was a hotel there, and kept them in there overnight, and then the next day marched them back down to the river and took them up to Rock Island for the prisoner of war camp up there.
It's just a lot of history all around here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm having a lot of fun. I'm not making a lot of money, but I'm having a lot of fun. It's better than having a real job.
Well, we are very appreciative that you have shared your stories with us, because you have shared a couple different times on Black Hawk, on Agency Road, on your grandma's story, your great grandma's story.
Yeah, Eunice Rockefeller.
Yes, and just the stories that you have, it's amazing that, you know, one, all the things that happened, but two, that you have a passion to preserve history, and you know, it's just it's something that's easily lost.
Yes.
And it's good when you can go back and learn about the area you grew up in.
Yeah.
So like the Agency Street book, I got one for each one of my kids because I want them to know these are your roots. This is what happened on the street before you lived there, you know.
Yeah.
And I do know that your books are available at Burlington by the Book.
Yes.
Shout out to Chris. Hey, Chris. And then on Amazon, do you have a page on Amazon?
No. Amazon has got a service called Kindle Direct Publishing.
Okay.
And it's a way to self-publish.
Mm-hmm.
You write your book and upload it in their computer, and if everything checks out, then they'll start selling it for you, and it doesn't cost anything.
Nice.
In fact, I even wrote a couple books on how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really encouraging local historians to kind of do some of the same stuff I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
because if you take somebody that is doing programs for the Kiwanis or Rotary or something on local history, but if they don't preserve it after that, when they're gone, the story's gone.
Right.
But if they can publish it like this, get it into book form, then it'll last.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why we just love having you on here, is to
yay.
hear that the history lasts.
Yeah. Enjoy coming.
Well, we enjoy having you, and I'm sorry our computer didn't.
Well, you'll get it all
Cooperate.
edited.
I apologize. Yeah, but we have audio,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
we will stitch it together.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a good stitcher. I am not. I've been trying to put Eli's Boy Scout badges on his shirt.
Yeah, that
He's been in Boy Scouts for 2 years.
Oh.
I've not done one. Actually, I kind of glued one on, and it didn't work. So he's a better
I'm
stitcher.
gonna take care of it. I'm gonna take care of it.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Russ.
Okay.
And we are very grateful that you join us on the King Kong Trail. This is what this podcast is for. Is for people to tell their stories, and it's for people to share things they're passionate about, and things that are, of course, Burlington or Southeast Iowa related. So
Yeah.
that definitely hits all the marks.
Yes. Yeah.
And we're looking forward to hearing your update when you find out anything. Yeah, so thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome. I'm always glad to do it.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. We will see you next time. Audio or video, we'll figure it out. But have a good one, Southeast Iowa.